guys, welcome back to my channel, and before anything else, if you're new here, please click that subscribe button and let's get right into this video. So in this video, I will be doing my left hand and I will be using nail tips and nail forms to show you guys the differences of the two. I already have experiences in using both of these products and I enjoy using either of the two. Sometimes it also depends on what I'm using, like for polygel, there are people who would prefer tips instead of forms. Sometimes if you don't have a nail glue, you'll have to use a nail form, so it really depends on the person and the situation. So first things first, we're gonna prep the nails, and this is what I usually do in the prepping step. I push back the cuticles and scrape off any dead skin on that area as well. And after that, I use a nail drill with a thin nail bit to further remove those dry dead skin in the cuticle area to avoid lifting. After doing that to all of the nails, we're gonna roughen up the surface of our natural nails using this file. And then I'm gonna be using this nail dehydrator and primer. This would make the polygel adhere better to our nails. After all of the prepping, we're now ready to have the tips. One thing about nail tips is that you're gonna need to have a nail glue to glue them on. I've experienced running out of nail glue one time, so I wasn't able to use tips and ended up with forms. So make sure to check if you still have one if you want to use nail tips. So I have decided to do half of my nails with nail tips and the other with forms. I'm gonna do my pointer and pinky nails with tips and the ring, middle, and thumb with nail forms. So I want to go ahead and pick out my sizes. I don't know about the other brands of nail tips, but this one does not have similar lengths. Like the pinky one is so much smaller than the others, and what I like to have is same length nails. So this is one of the downside to nail tips if you also want same length nails as me, but there are other nail tips which has same length, so you can choose to buy that too. And this is the nail forms that I use. And what I like about it is you can decide the length for each nail. As I said earlier, I like my nails similar in length, and you won't need to have any additional tools, like you won't need any nail glue. This nail form is enough to build the nail extensions. So I'm gonna be gluing down the tips on my nails first. Hold that for 5 seconds and then hold down the sides as well. After gluing down the tips, we're now gonna put on the forms. But before that, I want to prepare other things we need because it's gonna be harder to grab things with your forms on. So I'm gonna get my slip solution, which is rubbing alcohol, and put a small amount in my dappen dish. I also want to roughen up the surface of the nail tips as well before we put on the forms. And then shape the tips. This is one of the difference of tips and forms. In tips, you're gonna have to shape the tips first before applying the polygel or acrylic or dip powder in the shape that you want, so there would be a guide and you're gonna do less filing. In using nail forms, it is also possible to do less filing because you are free to shape the polygel on the form to the shape that you want, and only after building the extension is when you're gonna file it, so it only takes one time filing, while in using nail tips, you're gonna do it twice. One for the tips and the second one for the polygel. So now we're gonna put on the forms, and this is how I usually do it. There are different ways to put it on, but this is the one I'm used to. I'm pinching the end of the form to make it pointy, and even though I'm not gonna make stiletto shaped nails, I would need the tapered sides and make the end flat for a coffin shape. I'm putting the excess round shape of the form under the part where you're gonna put the extensions so that that part will be sturdier when we pat the polygel around and it would not be flimsy. When I'm using forms, I prefer to have slightly long nails to have an allowance for the form to be secured under that nail, and the transition of the natural nails and the polygel would be smooth. After putting on the nail tips and forms, we're gonna apply base coat since we're using polygel. And cure that for 60 seconds. I'm gonna be using this nude polygel for today, and I want to start with my middle finger. As I said earlier about nail forms, you can already shape the polygel by sculpting it to the shape that you want and do the filing later, and that's what I like about nail forms. You are free to choose the shape and do less filing. Actually, I prefer nail forms than nail tips now, although I started with using nail tips. I think it's because you get to be more creative when sculpting the nails on the nail form, and it trains you to build the extensions in the shape without any guides, so that's the reason why I prefer forms. However, there are times that I want to use tips just because I want to. It doesn't mean that I prefer forms that I'm gonna be using it all the time. There are also convenience that nail tips offer because there are already shaped tips, so you won't have to do the filing, and it is very beginner friendly, so that's what I would recommend for the beginners in doing their nails because it helped me a lot when I just started. After doing my nails on the nail forms, we now proceed with the tips. Another difference of nail forms and nail tips is the placement. Apparently, since you glue on the tips, it goes above the natural nails and it becomes part of the extension, while on nail forms, you put it under the nails and it will serve as a mold to build the extensions on, and it will not be part of the extension because of course you will be needing to take it off after building it. After doing all of the nails, this is what it looks like. We're gonna spray on some alcohol to remove the sticky layer before filing. So I really like how my index finger turned out. I think the shape already looks good even without filing, and that's one advantage of using nail tips. Since you already have a guide on where to put the polygel, it would be easier to build the nail. We can also see the difference of using forms and tips just by looking at the end of the nails. On the tips, we have crisp, flat edges, while on forms, we have an undefined edge because of the excess polygel left on that part, but we can always easily file them off. Another difference of tips and forms is the C-curve. Normally, you would get a more prominent C-curve with nail forms, as you can see here, and that's because we sculpted the nail itself and also because of the placement of the form to our finger. With nail tips, I didn't get a C-curve because the end of the tip is flat and also the form has more of a straight nail, but on the tips, we can see a curve. I'm not a big fan of curved nails, so that's also why I prefer forms, but it depends. If you want curved nails, you can use those curved nail tips to have that. This is after all of the filing. Now we can buff the nails. I'm gonna be using this white gel polish to make some designs. And also some glitters to make it sparkle. I'll be using top coat to stick them on. I won't cure it yet, and I want to sprinkle it on the white part of the nail. and then let's cure that for 60 seconds. And lastly, don't forget to apply cuticle oil, and we're finished.
Perfect.
So this is what my nails look like. There are quite a lot of differences of nail tips and forms, but you really can't see some differences on these nails from the first look. And I really like the result on how these nails turned out. So I hope you guys find this tutorial helpful on deciding what to use. I hope I also answered some questions about nail forms and nail tips. And I also hope that you enjoyed this video as much as I do. So please give this video a thumbs up, comment down below suggestions on what I should do next. Also follow me on Instagram at thehappyfingers. And if you're new here, subscribe to my channel, turn on my post notifications, and I'll see you on the next one.